5 months ago, I tried cutting my heating bill in half and it worked. But here's what happened after living with it every day. And hold on until the end because I'm going to tell you about a major health hazard that we ran into that you can avoid. This tip alone will save your health and your wallet. So let me start out by telling you what I initially did and what I changed along the way, along with a few other methods that will help you cut your bill. There's about 10 of them in all. One of the biggest things you've probably found with your electric bill is that the delivery fee can cost almost as much or even more than your usage fee. Now, here's what happened to us. The oil heat that we had initially in this apartment, I guess the burner cracked and soot was released everywhere in the house. So I told the landlord, you got to do something about this. So he ripped the whole unit out and he put in those heat pumps. He put one in this room right in the corner and one in the far bedroom. He was going to put in another, but he decided to put it in the basement and cut corners. So basically last winter, we started to freeze. So we went out and we got some of those space heaters, those oil filled. I did some research. I had the regular electric ones and they're expensive, but we got the oil filled Polonis heaters. And I'll show you in some of the pictures here. We have two different kinds. We got the manual one and then we got the electronic one. Matter of fact, here's a little thing for it. So we got two of those and we started heating with those. And actually, we cut our bill just about in half, not the delivery fee, because that is pretty much of a standard, but the regular electric that we pay for the heat. I know a lot of you say, well, those heat pumps aren't very expensive, but they are when they're working full-time, really heavy duty on one side of the house to heat the whole thing, and it gets cold up here. In addition to that, we did a bunch of other things to be able to cut, and I'm going to go through those one by one. Number one is we sectioned off our rooms with insulated curtains, one going into the front room, one going into the kitchen, and actually going into the front foyer. So we have, I guess you could say, quadrants in the house. So the front room has my little workshop and our spare room. The door stays closed on there because that's just storage. Now, I'm not in there often, so that doesn't need to be heated. There's no heat in there at all. Now, this room, this is where I work. So the heat's on here most of the time throughout the day because I'm working here. And at nighttime, we leave the heat on in this room. And there's also a Polonis heater in the bedroom. And by the way, this video is not sponsored by Polonis or anyone else, but it should be. So now if you go into the kitchen, we have the manual heater over there, which works very well, by the way. We set it and we left it pretty much all winter. Now that one heats the kitchen and it heats Raluca's office. But at nighttime, we don't need those, so we turn them way down. So we're just heating up these two rooms here. In the morning before we get up, I open the curtain and let the heat from here go into there so we can actually work comfortably in the kitchen. And then there's the front foyer, okay, where people come in, they take off their coats. That gets really cold, so there's no heat in there, and we'll leave a curtain closed, okay? And there's the big problem, the danger we ran into that I'm going to tell you about in a few moments. So that's what we did to really save money on our electric. Now, it worked out really well, but there's a few other things that we did later on that helped out quite a bit. The door snakes, putting these little snakes at the bottom of each one of our doors to help reduce the draft or stop the draft that comes in from underneath the doors. We started to wear sweaters or those little, I guess you'd call them zipper hoodie type things while we're in the house. If I'm watching TV and it's a little cold, it's all right as long as I have a sweater on. So that helps to cut the bill. So instead of having it at 80 degrees, I could probably put it at 75. Now, a really big one, I'll call this number 6, is to put some insulation on your floor. I sit here all the time. The garage underneath, because we're on the second floor, underneath us is a garage, is extremely cold with no heat. So the floor gets cold. That's where you lose most of your heat, and that's where the cold comes in from. So I have one of those plastic things under my office chair so I can roll back and forth. Whee! Okay. But as additional warmth, I put a big beach towel that I folded up, and I bought a $20 electric blanket from Ocean State Job Lots, and it was used just for that. And I turn it on when I work, and I put my feet on it, whether I was wearing shoes or socks, and that kept it warm. Otherwise, within 20 minutes, my feet would freeze. Matter of fact, they're cold right now because it's warm outside and I got rid of the blanket trying to change over to spring, but the floor is still cold. Number 7 is rather than just going to bed like you normally do, we had some extra blankets, kept them folded up on a chair by the bed. If it got colder, we put the blankets on. This way we could leave the heat at a constant heat throughout the night. Number 8 is what I mentioned earlier, just to turn down the heat in general throughout the house. If you normally keep it at 80, try it a little bit at 78, 76. You can go down little by little and see how you do, with the sweaters and the blankets. Now, I don't want you to freeze. If it gets too bad, go back to where it was. Number 9 is to place plastic in the windows. That was a big game changer as well. I have a big picture window in front of me, and the wind, you can feel it's always cold here. So I plastic the whole thing. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4 windows all by, side by side, but I put plastic over the whole thing. Now, you want to keep on checking on your plastic because I have curtains up front of them, so I'm not looking outside right now. And the upper left-hand corner, I was feeling a breeze, and I looked, and it had let go. The tape had let go inside it to peel down. Okay, so I had to go back up and repair that one. And I put plastic on all the bedroom windows. And you can see right outside the plastic. And if you do it right, you could even open and close those Venetian blinds. Just poke a little hole to have the little rod come through and tape around it so it doesn't let go. And I'm able to open and close the curtains that are beyond or on the other side of the plastic, which makes it really nice. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you're going to be dark all winter if you have them closed. And number 10, this is something I didn't do till later on, is they have these little kits, these insulation socket kits, where you plug in your wires. If you open up where your sockets are in the wall, you're going to see it's a wide open hole right to the outside in a lot of cases. They don't really insulate around that, but they make insulation kits where you open it up and you can stick the insulation around that and close it back up. And that makes a big difference as well. So there's 10 things that you can do, which brings us to the warning hazard. Before all this happened, like I said, that oil heat was warming up the entire house. Okay, it was expensive, but it was heating the entire house, so we didn't have to really worry about shutting off or cordoning off different rooms. By shutting off the front room, okay, that little shed, we have a washer and dryer in there, bunch of coats, all of our coats, about 30 hats, okay? By closing that off, it would get cold, and then it would get warmer during the day, and using a washer and dryer would make it get warm, but it created humidity. And people say, oh, humidity is great in your house. That's true, because another thing we would do is if it was really cold in the morning, I'd run the shower and let that humidity go through the house. And that was right by the front room. So a lot of that would escape in that room. But I didn't realize until about a month later, maybe 2 months later, we went out there to do something one day, and Raluca goes, what's all these dots on the wall? We got mold, really bad mold. Matter of fact, if you move the washing machine, the wall was covered with mold. Behind all the coats were covered with mold. We had to throw away probably about 15 coats. Could I have washed them? Maybe, but just the whole idea of having mold on them really gave me the willies. Okay, what did they call that? The creeping willies. So we got rid of all of them, and it took probably 2 or 3 days to wash everything down with vinegar. And she tried several other commercial type products, but vinegar and water seemed to work the best for cleaning it all. Now it's been another 3 months, almost 3 months, and it hasn't come back. But that was disgusting. Not only disgusting, it's a health hazard because eventually you're going to be breathing that in. It even got into the back of the dryer. So we had to take the whole back of the dryer off and clean that all out and clean behind there in the little cubbies. So just so you know about it, keep checking. If you're getting a lot of humidity in one of your rooms, what we started doing is we put a box fan out there and just let the fan run until everything evaporated. This front room was doing the same thing, but we didn't get mold yet. We caught it. But when the windows get all, wet from the humidity, let the fan go for a while to circulate the air and dry that all out. So that's a big thing. Humidity is great. However, too much can cause other problems like the mold. So can you save up to 50% on your heat? Well, we did initially, but as it went on, it probably wasn't as high, but we still saved quite a bit between, I'd say maybe 30 and 45% month after month after month. Why? Because as time went on, I was tired of getting cold and I just run the heat higher and I wasn't being as astute as I should be in trying to save energy. But these are really proven ways that you can keep warmer throughout the winter and even save electricity throughout the summer. So I'd really like to hear some of your ideas, especially with the spring and summer coming on. What do you do to cut on your electric bill? Maybe this fall, when it's really warm, I could use some of the ideas you've given me and talk about a summer program for lowering and cutting the electricity bill down. Please share this list with the people that you know so you can help them to save money on their electricity. I'm sure they'll really appreciate you helping them out, just like I was thankful for all the people that shared ideas with me. That's right, you guys. Thanks. In addition to sharing, please subscribe. We can really use the subscribers, and I so much appreciate your support. So with that, as always, have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.